I am Ian Wray, and I am the great nephew of Charles Smithson, who was a friend of Dickens. As Charles Dickens visited Malton in the summer of 1843 for nearly 3 weeks, he got to know the area well. Also, he must have visited the office, probably on more than one occasion, and got to know the solicitor's office in Chancery Lane. Subsequently, the story of Christmas Carol was written by Dickens not long after, later in 1843, and undoubtedly it would be on his mind, the office which became known as Scrooge's office. He did in fact confirm to the family that the office in the Christmas Carol was that of the Smithsons, and the church bells in the same novel were those of the Church of St Leonard's. Whilst visiting Malton, one of the main events from the family's point of view was when Charles Dickens visited my great-great-grandfather's family at the messenger office, and my great-grandfather and his brother remember the event, and they remembered Dickens mentioning sometime later about Smithson Solicitors being the office of Scrooge in the story of A Christmas Carol. Charles Smithson, of course, had moved from Easthorpe Hall to the Abbey House at Old Malton in the autumn of 1843, but died in the March of 1844. Charles Dickens made a last-minute journey from London to Malton to attend the funeral at the Priory Church, St Mary's, at Old Malton. Charles Smithson's wife was Elizabeth Dorothy Thompson, whose sister was unmarried and lived with them for most of the time, looking after Thompson's eldest children. Thompson's first wife had died, he remarried, and had 2 daughters, who of course were the nieces of Charles and Elizabeth Smithson. The eldest niece was Elizabeth, who married William Butler and became famous as the battle painter, and the younger daughter was Alice, who married Wilfrid Mennell, and she was a famous biographer and a poet. When Professor Tillotson, who was a top Dickens expert who lived in London, came to visit my wife and myself, we took her around the places of interest, and she was very interested in learning about the Gannock, which had been mentioned in one of the letters, and did confirm that Charles Smithson was in fact a very close friend of Charles Dickens.